All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Schreiber. I am happy to be the CEO of the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and especially today, we welcome you to a great day for the South Ward, for Newark, and for the state of New Jersey. And we're here to announce, and I have a sneaking suspicion you may know what I'm about to tell you, but we're here to announce that after almost 3 years of active collaboration, a unique coalition of the willing is present at Seth Boyden to introduce Lionsgate Newark, a state-of-the-art, purpose-built television and film studio to be constructed on this site. Now, I have some friends in the house, and if you are my friend, you know that for almost all of my life, I have had a relatively full head of hair, and that is not the case today. And the reason is that the mayor and I had a bet about this deal. He was convinced it was going to go through. I was optimistic, but not 100% sure. So we agreed that if the deal fell through, he'd have to copy my hairstyle, and if it succeeded, I'd have to copy his. And thankfully, the mayor was right, and I think the Baraka, suits me well, It's my hairstyle for the rest of my life. So, anyway, all of us at NJPAC are excited at what Lionsgate Newark will mean to our city to enhance the studio's authentic value to Newark. The Art Center will be developing education and community programs that will teach our young people about careers in broadcast and film production, and I'm honored that our school superintendent, Roger Leone, is here with us today, and as time goes by, we'll have some exciting news as it relates to education and internships. And we're also excited to participate in the economic development the studio will deliver here in the South Ward. So how did we get here? First of all, Governor Murphy and Tim Sullivan and his team at EDA, and Tim Sullivan, thank you for being here. Supported by the legislature, including Senate Majority Leader Ruiz and Assemblywoman Pinter Marin, instituted a TV film tax credit program that immediately catapulted New Jersey to best-in-class status for any content provider looking to produce great movies or TV series. And with this legislation, for the first time, it is possible to develop world-class film studios in our state. But even before that landmark legislation was passed, all of us at the Arts Center understood the power of broadcast as an economic driver and as a brand builder. And over the past 10 years, hundreds of hours of television and film have been shot in our theaters and on our campus, delivering millions of dollars of revenue and new employment opportunities to our city. We have cultivated a Newark-based network for artists to create, rehearse, tour, and broadcast that work. And this studio will play a critical role in that hub. We project the studio will contribute $800 million a year in combined economic impact for our region. And there you go. Yeah, that's a good thing. So as the city and the state's anchor cultural institution, we're always looking for innovative ways to add to community, and the idea of a grade A broadcast facility felt like a natural, and we gave it a shot. And I will tell you, after 45 years in this business, I have learned that the key to success as a producer is knowing what you don't know and the indispensable value of working with the right experts and colleagues to get from 0 to 60. And advancing from a big idea to today's announcement involved a lot of heads and a lot of hearts. And throughout, I've relied on the support of our NJPAC board, who believed in this project from the beginning, particularly our co-chairs, Barry Ostrowski and Steve Goldman, who is here today. And Steve has proved an invaluable strategist and deal maker for us. And our NJPAC board member, Mark Burson, is the person who first identified the Seth Boyden site as the best location for the studio. The mayor's chief of staff, Mitty Baraka, placed the first call to Newark Housing Authority boss Victor Cirillo in November 2019 to broach the possibility of the Arts Center applying to the NHA to be designated as the property's redeveloper. First Lady Tammy Murphy first introduced our studio's operator, financier, and mastermind, Robert Halmy, to the state, and then to us. And Steve Gorelick at the New Jersey Film and TV Commission, who is here today as well, was always there for good advice and guidance, as was my old friend Tom Bernard, who is the co-president of Sony Pictures Classics. He's a guy who has been a champion of the TV film tax credit program for years. Needless to say, nothing gets done in Essex County without County Executive Joe D's support. Joe D can't be with us today, but Joe D is with us today. And he has been and he continues to be a staunch advocate for this project. I am extremely grateful to my NJPAC colleagues, David Rodriguez, who made his TV bones as producer of Showtime at the Apollo some years ago, our COO, Warren Tranquad, and our head of real estate, Tim Lazura, for serving as a Project Brains Trust at NJPAC on a daily basis. Ken Gifford is here. He is the producer of the Newark Black Film Festival, and he'll be working with us as time goes by to help develop education, apprentice, and internship programs related to the studio. Frank Giantomasi, indefatigable, see, I can pronounce it, and brilliant, was our constant go-to guy as this deal went from dream to reality. The Housing Authority's lawyer, Glenn Scotland, was a patient and judicious teammate as we negotiated the terms of our redevelopment agreement, and Joe Taylor and Richard Johnson of Matrix Development signed on early in the game, bringing decades of experience to the nuts and bolts of what it takes to build a studio. But all that said, we would not be here today if it were not for Robert Halmy, creator of the Hallmark Channel and founder and owner of Great Point Studios, and his team, including Great Point Studios co-founder Femi Zeko, CFO of the studio fund Peter Von Gaal, and COO of Great Point Chris Moneypenny. Robbie believed in Newark as a film production hub immediately and has been a stand-up partner every step of the way. He is always as good as his word, and as someone with more than 1 million square feet of studio stages currently in development, is a true industry visionary. Ladies and gents, please meet and help me thank Robert Halmy.
Thank you, John. I don't really remember you having hair, but look back at some of our photographs. We're really excited to be here, and really thank you, John, and thank you, Mark, for getting us together and making us part of this great team. Of course, we have to also thank the governor who really, without getting legislation passed that makes it a film-friendly state, we'd never be here today. And that legislation will really make New Jersey a real strong competitor in what is an incredibly fast-growing and important market for everyone. And of course, I have to thank the mayor. We always like to have some local champions of our projects, because we find without some local help, you just don't get things done. And it's you can't have a better champion than having the mayor as your champion, because that sort of cuts through all the red tape, and he's been such a great partner in this project. It's just been a wonderful experience getting this off the ground. Of course, we also have to thank John Feldheimer at Lionsgate. Without Lionsgate support, there wouldn't be a Lionsgate studio, and he believes in production in the Northeast, and Lionsgate is an incredible partner, and you'll find that they're a wonderful partner to have in this community. They go out of their way to make people feel welcome in their stages. They will do everything they can to make sure no one's lives are disrupted by what we're doing, and that's important to them. And I think you'll find them a great partner for Newark. We are just thrilled to be here at the start of this. We're going to build a best-in-class production center here with all the modern state-of-the-art technology. We have some incredible new lighting packages coming online, which will be high output, low power lights that use much less energy, which is much better for the environment. We will have solar panels that'll power all our offices in the entire studio complex. We will have green roofs that will grow gardens, will grow vegetables that will actually feed our crew with our own vegetables. So we're really thinking about the future and thinking about being a wonderful part to this community. We're building what is known as a 3-show campus, so we could have as many as 3 giant television series here at one time. Each series will will employ about 350 to 400 people. So we could have 1,000 people working here a day, 24/7. It's going to be a big shot in the arm for this community. We think it's going to have a real positive effect on revitalizing Newark. And it's also going to be a landmark studio in a way. We're building two of the largest studios ever built in the East, right on this campus, 32,500 square foot stages, giant stages that just don't exist in the Northeast. So this will be a spectacular campus where we want to get all this stuff off the lawn and start building. And really thank you all for letting us have this opportunity. Thank you.
We have some special friends of the arts and leaders of Newark in the house. I just want to acknowledge them briefly. One is Eric Pennington, who is the business administrator of the city of Newark. Always calls back, means a lot to me. Thank you. Our Secretary of State, Tahisha Way, is here. She oversights the film and TV business in the state of New Jersey. So thank you for all your support and for the amazing work that the New Jersey State Council on the Arts does. And thank you, Governor, for doubling the budget of the New Jersey State Council on the Arts and keeping it there. We appreciate that. Our Deputy Mayor for Economic Development, Allison Ladd, is here. Thank you for everything you do every day. And really smart and effective new head of the Newark Alliance is here, and that is Evan Weiss. Thank you, Evan. And the former head of the Newark Alliance, and now the senior vice president of all sorts of things at Audible, is here, and that is Aisha Glover. Well, there you are. Yay. It's the global, okay. Doing good works in Newark at all times. Thank you. Our next speaker just got reelected with an historic landslide victory, and for good reason. He is a practical progressive whose deep love for our city is bred in the bone. He's been our North Star as a leader through the worst of the pandemic, and he makes positive change for the people of Newark every day. He has supported this project consistently from day one, and it was always there for us to give it a push forward when we needed it. And believe me, we needed a few pushes forward as time went on. He's a poet, he's a politician, an activist, and a beloved son of the South Ward. Please welcome Mayor Ras Baraka.
Thank you, John. He always introduces me as a poet. I love that. Because I know. So this is, just want to thank, obviously, the governor, staff, and everybody that's here from the administration, because without the tax credits, obviously, this doesn't happen. Without the foresight and understanding that it was necessary for us to do this, that art was incredibly important, that it helps create development, jobs, opportunity, growth. You have to be able to see that. And the next step, you have to actually get legislators to believe it and vote on it, which I know is a heavy lift. So we appreciate that completely. I want to thank Victor Cirillo for being a partner here and seeing us through to this moment is incredibly important. You know, without the Housing Authority, we're not here today, obviously. So I want to thank Victor and, you know, his willingness to get this done for this community. The Office of Film and Television in the city of Newark, which is going to get a lot of business because of this now. We appreciate that. Obviously, Robert Helmy and Great Point and the folks, you know, over at Lionsgate as well for believing in Newark, for thinking this is a place to cash your buckets down to help us transform a neighborhood that so desperately needs transforming. We appreciate you, and this is going to be historic, not only for the city, but for the entire state and the region as well. And I'm glad that you can see that, you know, and many other people are beginning to see that as well. And, you know, I don't think John gives himself enough credit because the hardest part of a project is the beginning and the end. To get it off the ground, to have the courage, the vision to, you know, bring it to other people who may not believe in it at all, to bring folks to the table, to get other people to cheerlead it just as you are, to give them the sense of urgency, the same urgency that you may have in your belly to make sure other people have this urgency is heavy. And to do it in Newark is even heavier. There's a lot of pieces that you have to get in place in order to get that done. And this commitment to this project and this vision and drive convinced me and many other people that this is something that we should be a part of. And we did that. And I want to thank John for that. He definitely doesn't give himself enough credit. Trying to keep it on track all the way to the end and making sure all the pieces were in place is important. And getting it at the end, and a lot of people take for granted pushing things over the finish line. Once you get it in the red zone, it can die in the red zone. We all know that, right? And you have to have the right people to get it across that line. And being able to get the right people to call the plays and giving it to the right person to get it over there is important. So I want to give NJPAC, John Schreiber, and all of those folks a round of applause, please, for knowing what to do and how to get us to this point and making sure they kept me in the loop, and I called and did as much as I can. And some of the things I have to do, I can't divulge in public. So I just do what I'm supposed to do in order to get the thing done. Newark has been a city where film had its birth. Film and Newark have a relationship. So this is a full circle moment for us. We coming back to that moment here. And it's incredible that we come back to that moment at Seth Boyden, the oldest and first housing project built in the city of Newark. That we do that on this complex that has had so many, difficult days, particularly in its end, where we got to a point where I was just concerned with knocking it down, not really concerned with what's going to be here. I said, well, we just need to knock it down. If somebody's going to do something, let's just knock it down. And we got to that point, and Victor can tell you that was my number one thing, because I just believed if we leveled it, people can see what we saw. We saw an incredible community 5 minutes from the airport, probably less if the highway wasn't there. We saw a community with a golf course on the other side of it. We saw a community that was connected to all kinds of interstate highways that you can get to New York City and any part of the country or the world from the airport in a brief period of time, that you can get from here to Main Waters to Port Authority in short periods of time. This is a beautiful community, a community that was overlooked, underappreciated, and definitely underinvested in, that this will get an opportunity to let people see what we saw in Seth Boyden or the Dayton Street area in the city of Newark. And this is going to happen by God's grace and all the great work that these folks are doing. This community will come alive again, and there'll be people from all over the world taking a plane to Newark Airport and then finding a way to the studios at Seth Boyden Complex and seeing how incredible Newark is, something that I've known for a very long, long, long time. So thank you, everybody who came out here today. This is going to be an incredible project.
And that's why he's a great leader, because he gives everybody else credit. That's how you do it, Mayor. Thank you for your leadership. NJPAC was imagined and developed by a great arts-loving governor, Tom Kean. Now, 35 years later, the state is blessed with another governor who understands the power and value of arts and entertainment to enhance the lives of citizens and draw people and dollars to our cities and towns up and down the state. At the start of his first term, he signed historic legislation that jump-started the TV and film boom in New Jersey. According to Robbie, he sealed the deal with Lionsgate and has been a fierce advocate for growing broadcast production in New Jersey. He's a wonderful leader, always present, always positive, always responsive, and someone who makes us proud every day. Please welcome Governor Murphy.
I appreciate that, John. I'm just reminded, I haven't thought of this story in 5 or 6 years. When I was first out there trying to determine whether or not it made sense for me to run for governor, I was meeting with a union. And the union had a very smart, perceptive guy said to me, "What did you want to do when you were in college?" I said, "You know what? I very seriously considered becoming an actor." True story. And his answer to me, without missing a beat, "How do I know you haven't become an actor?" I'm glad to be in touch with as a recovering thespian. John, I echo everything the mayor said about you and the NJPAC team. I also want to say Eric Pennington and Steve Goldman were already two of the smartest people I knew, but the fact that they're both wearing hats and sunglasses is further proof that they're smarter than the rest of us. Mayor, incredibly honored to be with you. Cannot tell you how thrilled we are that you were reelected, particularly resoundingly, and can't tell you enough about how much we respect your leadership of this great of this great community. And I could say something about literally, I think virtually every one of you in the audience. I won't do that, but I do want to, in addition to John and Steve and the NJPAC team, I want to give Robbie and Femi a shout out. More on them in a minute, but to them and the people at Great Point Media, hats off to you guys. More on that in a second. And also, they're not here, or at least John Feldheimer's not here, but the Lionsgate crowd, I want to give an in absentia shout out. John became a phone pal of mine throughout this process. Not only do things not happen in Essex County without Joe D's leadership, but today's his birthday. So in absentia, happy birthday, Joe. Vic, to you and the whole team at the Newark Housing Authority, Secretary of State Tahisha Way, and EDA CEO Tim Sullivan, and everybody who's involved in the arts or the motion picture and film commission, everybody connected more broadly with the art scene. There's one person who's not here who I have to give a shout out to because she deserves to be here, and that is my wife. My wife played an outsized role in getting us to today early on. She has had a multi-decade friendship with the Henson family of Jim Henson and Muppets fame, and she rekindled that relationship with Brian Henson several years ago. Brian introduced her to Robbie and Femi. Somehow Mark Burson and Aisha got involved in terms of the NJPAC connection, and one thing begat another, and here we are today. She wanted to be here, could not be here, but want to give her a shout out. And look at this, we have the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz, Budget Chair Ileana Pinter-Marin, honored to have you here. I can't, the fact that we've got incentives that are smart, they're progressive, they're forward-leaning. I had the pen, but these ladies and their colleagues got the legislation to my desk, and by the way, I've gotten it to our desk on a number of occasions to tweak this and make it even stronger. And again, Mayor, this is such a great day for Newark and New Jersey. So 4 years ago, as was mentioned, when I signed the legislation reinstating New Jersey's film tax credit program, I knew we were setting the stage, pardon the pun, by the way, for an announcement like this. So last year, forget about what this is going to do for a minute. Last year, we exceeded $500 million in production investments in New Jersey. And we're not just committed to making film and television production a core driver of our economy. We are actively restoring, as the mayor alluded to, our historic place in a world-class location. And Lionsgate and Great Point are the exclamation point at the end of that sentence. This is our history, folks. Thomas Edison invented motion pictures in New Jersey and set up the first movie studios, I think in West Orange, not even 10 miles away from here. And as today proves, we are committed to working with the industry to ensure mutual growth and mutual benefit. The mayor spoke a little bit to this, as did John, in terms of the economic impacts, but two numbers in particular cannot be repeated enough. Number one is the many hundreds of new long-term jobs with a priority, I might add, for Newark residents, and an annual income impact expected to exceed $800 million from this project alone. And these economic impacts will certainly benefit, first and foremost, Newark, but they will reach far beyond Newark. It is proven when there is local work to be had, skilled crew members move nearby. And whether it be here or at any of the other studios being opened, the constant stream of projects will create full-time work for crews and others connected to these studios. And as we speak, by the way, there is another monster studio in New Jersey today kicking the tires on the great Garden State. And John, through the partnership of NJPAC and Newark Public Schools, the next generation workforce for our production industry is going to be educated and trained right here. Film production is becoming, frankly, our if we build it, they will come moment. In addition to Lionsgate, and I mentioned in their partnership with Great Point and NJPAC, there are many others, as I mentioned a minute ago. Somebody who I shall not name, but we've got Palisades Stages, Cinelease, 10 Basin Studios. All of those are up, open, and working. Bayonne's Planning Board, not too long ago, recently gave approval to the creation of what would be among the largest ground-up studios in the United States of America. There is tremendous demand, as the professionals to our right know, for large sound stages in the Northeast, driven by a shift in how television and motion pictures are filmed. Studio interest, as I mentioned, is soaring, and as anyone on our team can attest, certainly Tim Sullivan at the EDA, we are fielding calls weekly from production teams inquiring not just about our incentive programs, but about where they may be potential studio space. They're calling because they know they will find everything they could possibly want in our state. Diversity, great union talent, and production incentives that are among the very best and most progressive. And by the way, increasingly, not just good value for the money, but values that they can be proud of. This is the best state in America to raise a family. It's the best state in America for workers and their families. And now we're giving them the studio space that they need. So to everybody here, I say congratulations and thank you. Newark and New Jersey are each ready for our close-up. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Just trying to keep you on your toes.
I want to acknowledge a couple of other friends in the House. One is the woman who leads all of the arts education work in the city of Newark for Newark Public Schools, and that's Margaret Eel, who is sitting right there. Thank you, Margaret, for everything you do. You're creating new cultural citizens every day. God bless you. I also want to say hello, and you all should too, to the president of the Montclair Film Festival and somebody who has been a force for good for the nonprofit arts sector in the state of New Jersey for a long time, and that's Evie Colbert. Evie, thank you for everything. And welcome, Assemblywoman. Glad you're here. Thank you. And our next speaker is a heroine. She's a daughter of Newark. She made history as the first Latina to be elected Senate Majority Leader. She is a fierce advocate for all things Newark. She fights every day for equity, opportunity, and the futures of our children and families. And she believed in this project and supported it from the beginning. And I'm really glad she's here. Please welcome Senator M. Teresa Ruiz.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry, everyone, I'm late. The budget chair and I were in a meeting and we got realized at 2 o'clock and where's the mayor? We were at pace. We were not racing. Came here. Thank you to the NJPAC staffer who parked our car because we were barreling in here. To the governor for signing what I will say was a tremendous piece of legislation, not because it was sponsored by Ruiz and Pinter Marin, but because it really took New Jersey to a different level, a different stage, a different platform, and lend a lens of uniqueness that all of us here in the Garden State have always recognized, including our CEO of the state, is that if you want to do something and you want to do it great and you want to do it cohesively, come to the Garden State. And I know that he mentioned a lot of projects, but today we're solely here to talk about the city of Newark. So Bayonne might have a beautiful film project and another town may have something else, but we are talking about the great brick city. We are talking about the city of Newark. We're talking about the city of so many of our parents who picked it to raise their families. We're talking about a location that when you look across the way, I believe we're abutting Weequahic Golf Course, if I'm not mistaken, on this side. Is that accurate? It's that side. A premier golf course, a state-of-the-art facility in the entire park system, one that was designed by Olmsted, one that meets today's challenges and needs for a modern day family and keeps the history that was embedded then, a pride of the county executive. When you look at those components together, you talk about two variables in creating an equation for economic development that we haven't seen in many areas in the city. And how wonderful when we talk about development downtown, but we're talking development right here in a community, the Weequahic community, right here in our great mighty South Ward. And I am just so proud to be part of that cohesiveness. I know I heard some people say they're looking at New Jersey to build more stages. I thought they were looking at New Jersey because they were looking to cast me in their next film. Okay. That's a joke, people. Come on. Oh, great. I missed that one, but thank you for adding it in. So to Lionsgate, if you thought you had heard yourselves roar, wait until you open your doors here in Newark, New Jersey. I can only imagine seeing that kindergartner getting their first exposure to an industry through play, perhaps. Seeing them go through fourth grade and understanding different facets of what film industry can do. Having them go into one of our high schools, either in the acting field or in the lighting, joining a union and becoming a member of this production company right here in the city, never leaving within their square radius of where they were born and raised. And to me, that's an extraordinary venture, and that's where government has to place itself in. To my partner for, it was an arduous task, rewriting some of the portions of this bill and making sure that the social components were in there so that the benefit was for the mother who heads their household here in the state of New Jersey, who finds herself alone living check to check, for the corporate partner who was coming in, for the government and the local layers of government. Thank you, Eliana, for your labor in that. To the Newark Housing Authority for being a constructive partner and continuously seeing to mobilize sites to reproduce themselves and rise like a phoenix out of the ashes to be sure that it benefits every sector of every community. To the governor for understanding and being a partner in this process. To the mayor who always recognizes what we have always known here in the city, that we have always been gems and diamonds and jewels, but now everyone is recognizing those facets of who we are. And to all of you here for always believing in the great city of Newark. El desarrollo de nosotros está empezando solamente hoy. So I will tell you that this is filled with pride, this is filled with honor. And to John Schreiber, who has really taken a cornerstone of the arts community and has created kind of a labyrinth and all these tentacles in creating economic development opportunities still based in arts and institution and cultivating employment and residential, et cetera, and the list could go on and on. I remember having one of these first conversations, and I think it was Hudson County that was in the mix. Do you remember what I said to you? Yes. I won't repeat it because I think I dropped a 4-letter bomb. I said, don't talk to me again until you find a location in the city of Newark. And so this is a wonderful day. I can't wait to come back and to maybe get some credits for a SAG card in my next generation of whatever life I look to explore afterwards. To the mayor and to all my colleagues, I just want to say congratulations. But to the families in Newark, this is a win-win-win. This is about us and for us and by us. Thank you and congratulations.
Wow, Senator. Lionsgate called in the middle of your speech, and they've asked you to star in the biopic on your life. Okay, yeah. It hardly ever happens, but it's going to happen. And I do remember that conversation in Joe D's office where you did say a few very firm things to me about locating the studio in Newark, and we took your advice. I want to shout out another friend in the House, and that is Tim's colleague and our good friend, Ty Cooper from the EDA. Ty Cooper, yay! There's a new sitcom Lionsgate is going to do called Everybody Loves Ty Cooper. So there's that. Our final speaker, his leadership and support has been the linchpin to getting us to today. His guidance and his advocacy of our studio project was crucial in getting us to the finish line. He is wise, strategic, thoughtful, and devoted to the continued revitalization of Newark. Please join me in welcoming Victor Cirillo, the head of the Housing Authority.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing today? Excellent. I've been sitting and just listening to these magnificent plans and vision. It's just so exciting. But it does remind me that there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work ahead of us. Frank, you remember we were working during the COVID pandemic, drafting the plans for this concept in our basements, right? Zoom calls and Tim and Kara Lee, Kevin. Today we're listening to Robert Helmy talk about the latest construction trends and making sure that these facilities are state of the art. Is just so exciting, but it just reminds us of how much work is ahead of us, and we got to keep moving forward. Just yesterday, we had the environmental company to come in and start doing their investigations. I do want to shout out to Perdomo Incorporated of New York. the gentlemen that you see over there. They've been working so hard, record time, trying to get this completed, trying to get it done so that we can leave it at a certain level and be ready to begin the construction. So hopefully very soon we'll be at that point and we can get started. Much of the merits that this project bring to the table have been shared by our dignitaries, but I do want to highlight one item, and it's a small tidbit in some ways, and that is that this project is only the beginning. It's what we call the anchor for the Dayton Street neighborhood, and I hear Mayor Baraka agreeing. It's just the beginning. Right now, we're in communication with Superintendent Roger Leone, with Senator Ruiz about building the new school that this neighborhood will need very soon. We are speaking to Dr. Pamela Clark, Congressman Payne about the community health center that's going to be built right down the street. We're working with them on that as well. Barai Development in the Housing Authority are building 300 plus units of low and moderate income housing around the perimeter towards where you see the school over there in front of the golf course. So we're going to be neighbors. So we have to make sure, as we planned, we make sure we construct at the same time and we don't get in each other's way. So there's a lot ahead of us. And lastly, we are in conversations with our mayor, and that's about a redevelopment zone to include new dining options, recreational options, and a police substation right in the middle of Freeland Heights and Avenue, right, to improve public safety in the neighborhood. So the future for the Dayton Street neighborhood is bright if we have something to say and if we continue working together in partnership. Successful real estate is grounded on speculation, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the residents that live around the perimeter, the residents that live in this ward, and the residents of the city of Newark that have decided to remain home will be the recipients of the higher property values, good schools that we're going to be building very soon, and the latest amenities in these neighborhoods. So we're very excited about partnering with all of you, and we want to thank you. We want to thank you for believing in Newark. We want to thank you for your partnerships, and we want to thank you for your investment today. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right, thanks, folks, so much for being here, for helping us make history. A lot of nice things were said about me today. My wife, who is in the third row, appreciates it enormously, but doesn't believe any of it, so there's that. But I do want to say that that my NJPAC colleagues, especially David Rodriguez, Warren Tranquata, and Tim Lazura, were really the folks who drove this home every single day, and I'm eternally grateful to you guys for that. So now the governor, the mayor, our other dignitaries, Robbie, maybe the senator and the assemblywoman, I think are prepared to take questions, but the questions must be on topic. They must be about film and television business. So if you have questions, fire away. Daniel, can you stand up and shout?
Governor, there's been a good deal of controversy about whether the filmers had TV productions had an economic impact beyond their job. I guess bragging rights to the state. How can we be certain that they can be different? What is the tax break amount that's being sought for this project, both state and municipal subsidy? And also, you pitched to film companies that do business in Georgia to move up to New Jersey last year when they had their voting rights. Their voting they enacted last year. What has come of that?
Nice to see you, Daniel. I'll take two of those and ask Tim Sullivan maybe to take the middle one, which is the incentive question. I think you heard it. Victor, I think, said it the best, and the mayor and I were in violent agreement that this in and of itself is a transformational project, but it's an anchor to a much bigger transformation. So it's pretty clear. And it's one thing, listen, Steven Spielberg raises his hand and says he wants to make West Side Story in New Jersey, and he did, and we are incredibly proud of that. And he had a great experience, by the way. We've heard it directly from him. We want that all day long, but that's project to project. This is bricks and mortar. These guys live in this business. This is, and by the way, I'll bet, Robbie and Femi, that it doesn't stop at 6 sound stages if you have your druthers, right? So this is the start of something very big. And I think, Mayor, you'd agree with that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but on your third one, which is the Georgia piece, it's hard to say specifically what's getting made here that otherwise would have gotten made in Georgia. It's hard to say necessarily which bricks and mortar are in New Jersey that otherwise would have been in Georgia. But when you add up, and again, guys, you're in the business and I'm not, but when you add up guns, voting rights, LGBTQIA, women's reproductive freedom, just stop there for a moment. I mentioned this in my remarks. We not only have a great incentives package in place, which is competitive with any other state, so it's good value for money. We also have values that people can be proud of. You're not going to wake up in New Jersey someday and find that the rug was pulled out from under you. So it's not just in film and television, although implicit in your question, Georgia's the behemoth on the East Coast, but there's no question we're getting business, we're getting people and companies or projects to move here, film here, that we otherwise wouldn't have gotten. Tim, do you want to talk about the specifics of the incentives?
Echoing what the governor said, I think the biggest economic impact of film and CV business is going to be the bricks and mortar in the studio. Already we've seen a 4 or 5x increase in the amount of filming activity happening in the state since 2018. And that's had a huge jobs and economic impact already. But the best is yet to come once all these studios come online, of course, particularly the one in Newark, to the senator's point. I think the film tax credit's a 30% production credit. And as the senator and the assemblywoman mentioned, the Recovery Act that they co-sponsored added some features to those programs for folks who build a big infrastructure that can qualify for some enhancements to that. And then it's imaginable that the Aspire program that was part of the Economic Recovery Act will be part of the picture here too, but there's no details yet on that.
We can take one more if there's one more. Yes.
Other than the partnership with the school district, what sort of incentives or programs is the city going to offer right now to current residents to perhaps access jobs at these studios, as well as businesses, let's say like catering companies that would have to provide food on set?
We build the studios and we also manage the studios. And in managing the studios, we provide everything right here. We will have our own catering company right here. We'll have our own cleaning company right here, security company right here, accounting company right here. It's truly a turnkey facility. And we only access local hires for those jobs. That's our first priority. We've done that in Yonkers. We did it in Wales in the UK, and that's what we're going to do in Newark. It's going to create quite a lot of opportunity for people to get in early to our program. And I think it'll be one of the good things about having the studio come here.
Thank you all. These events don't happen by magic. We don't snap our fingers and all of a sudden here we are. We had two great firms working with us to make this happen. I want to thank Karen Kessler and her colleagues at Kessler PR, and also Daniela Sepkar, who was working on behalf of Great Point. Thank you for great work. Thank you all for being here. God bless Newark.